I was gonna say, are you lying? Are you just making up dog breeds right now? Because I've never heard of that.
I'm pretty sure you think I said burger doodle.
No,
I was like, yeah, what's a burger? I would have been like, fine, that's a real thing. Okay.
That's what I've done the whole time. I mean, she's told me about it. I'm like, I have no idea what this dog is.
They're tricolored. They look shaggy. I actually think they're on the rise. They're like the next cats.
They're
Yeah. And we'll be like, I'm ahead of the curve.
Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two. I am, of course, your host, that guy named Chris. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 371. A great episode for you all today. I would also just like to give I hope everybody is staying safe right now with the whole coronavirus thing going on. Everybody, social distances. I know I don't have to tell you all that, but please, I hope you're all staying safe and finding things to do. And keeping those creative juices flowing, or just relaxing. However you're doing it, please feel free to let me know. Twitter and Instagram at Casting42. But I should talk about my guests for today. My guests are Carly Sullivan and Maggie Chang. Carly was on the podcast previously, but and Maggie's the first time I'm talking to her, and they're both very delightful together. They created a Spark33 Media, and they have a web series called Creative Light, which I recommend everybody go check out on YouTube right now. But such a pleasure chatting with these two. But you know what? I'm done talking. We need to get into this episode, all right? So Carly and Maggie, take it away.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. How are you ladies doing today?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm doing, it's been one of those days where I heard a song and it reminded me of my childhood. And when I say childhood, I mean like high school years.
Nice. Okay.
So,
what was the song?
It's by a guy named Goody Grace, and it sounds like a very emo-ish song that I would totally listen to in high school. And it's called Scumbag. But then all of a sudden Blink-182 comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah, that's so high school. That was my first concert ever.
Wow, Blink-182?
Yes.
Did you have the best time?
The best time. I was 13. I was a freshman in high school, and I was like, man, life is good.
Oh,
yeah.
My first concert ever was Jars of Clay, which is a Christian band. I'm from Kansas. I did not know they were a Christian band, and I realized afterwards. It was a very it was a nice concert.
Yeah.
Of course, it was. Yes, it was. Were there like headbanging going on, or was it very?
No, none of that.
sit in your chair, and enjoy the music.
Yeah, which I mean, I was young. I was probably 10. Headbanging would have freaked me out at 10. Yeah, right. Concerts are strange.
My very first concert was a Foo Fighters concert.
Ooh,
oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I love Dave Grohl.
Oh my God! Don't get me started about Dave Grohl. One of my fondest memories was I saw him when he was touring with Weezer, and he actually got on the drum set, and I was just like, I've seen him drum, and then he's right there. I'm done. I'm good.
Oh,
wow.
That's a dream.
Yeah, that was like the peak of your life, young.
Yeah.
It's all down. It's been downhill since then. I'll let you know that now.
Well, it's going to head back up. It's going to move on up.
I don't know.
After today, we're going to turn that ship around.
Yeah.
Carly is going to do some. She does some drumming.
I'm actually for you. Yeah, I'm actually learning how to play the drums. I have a drum lesson tonight. It's like my 5th lesson.
Ooh. Oh my gosh.
Learning beats.
Yeah, and walk the dog. Are you gonna just walk the dog?
I'm not gonna walk the dog today. The dogs are actually here. I'm sure they actually might be a part of our interview. You know what I mean?
That's not me barking. Sorry.
No, it's not Maggie. It's not Maggie. So,
you guys, for a second, I thought walk the dog was a drumming technique, and I was like,
it is a drumming technique.
I thought it was actually literally walking the dog. I was like, Chris, I'm not going to walk my dog. I was like, I can't multitask like that.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know if it's a universal drum. That's how it was explained to me when I was learning how to play drums. That's where you hit the bass drum on 1 and 3 and the snare on 2 and 4.
Yes, that's actually what I'm learning right now. They called it backbeat in my music book.
Yes.
I can walk the dog. Yeah, I can walk the dog.
I think you should go in there like saying, "Did you guys know that there's a better name for this?"
Yeah, I'll tell my instructor.
And then they're gonna kick you out of there.
Yeah. They're going to be like, get out of Guitar Center.
Yes, take your sticks and get out of here. No, I've been playing drums for 17 years.
Wow. So
something like that.
You're like you must be pretty good.
I'm okay. I can keep time. That's the most important thing.
You can walk the dog and keep time. That's more than I can do.
Wow. That's impressive.
I almost feel like you have to. I need you to prove it. That this is not an interview of you.
I know. I wish. I wish I had my drum set in my room right now. But sometimes I'll just my nieces and nephews. I'll be like, get over here, and I'll just drum on them because they're young and they enjoy it without sticks. I'm not hitting them, by the way. I don't want that rumor out there.
Right.
Light taps.
Yeah,
taps. But they always enjoy it. I just try to keep those muscles,
warm,
tuned. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Cool. I love drumming.
Well, I'm glad you got it, Matt. Now, Maggie, what you got to play some instrument in Kansas. I mean, you gotta.
I don't know if you have noticed, but I'm Asian, so it doesn't really have to do with Kansas. But I did play the violin and the piano because it was mandatory.
Gotcha. Okay.
I was pretty good. I would say that I was decent. I made it to high school, and then I very much wanted to quit, but like I said, it was mandatory. So I devised a plan with my violin teacher. I showed up to every lesson sucking so hard until finally she quit on me.
Oh my! That's so good.
I know it was very intentional. It was difficult for me to do because I would like to excel at everything all the time.
Maggie excels at every single thing.
I was like, this is my plan. I'm sticking to it, and it worked. So
wow.
You excelled at being horrible.
Yes. I do have to say though, I'm a visual artist, but music I think is the fastest thing to my heart. I think Kandinsky, the artist Kandinsky, said that music of all art forms is the one that is the most emotional and the quickest to be emotional.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I mean, I don't want to do a coulda, woulda, shoulda scenario, but you guys could have formed the new Yellow Card. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, Chris, we could have been an amazing band together.
Yes, a two-person band, drums and violin. That's all you need.
Is it too late? Are you saying it's never too late? Because we love to collaborate together.
All right. So you guys are going to both go to Guitar Center later tonight.
Yes,
and just start training.
I don't know if you watched the first episode of our show Creative Life, but we had a drummer on, and we did this impromptu exercise where we had to just all, what was it?
Hold a beat together.
Yeah.
Which is like just like a new way of speaking for me. I don't know. It was terrifying. But we did it because I think he said something about it's a universal beat.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Like the tempo he gave us was kind of the universal tempo. So we got into it. We were pretty good.
We high-fived and everything.
Yeah.
Nice.
Caught that on camera.
Yeah. I mean, and I knew we could surpass Satnam and his talent if we just kept at it.
Hans Zimmer doesn't know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, you're gonna have to let us move in soon because we were jamming.
Let it be known that we have not been invited back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yet. No, I think the best thing that you're going to find, Carly, is that you're going to have a hard time being out of tune with anything. Once you get better, even when because I know you do a lot of your car videos.
Yeah, I haven't done it in a while, but I love my car videos.
When you put on that blinker, like you're going to start being in tune with it.
I'm already like constantly hearing you beats and repetitions, and I'm like, oh yeah, it sounds so good. I mean, watch out, because I seriously might move into drumming, just drop everything.
No,
there we go.
Don't say that. It will add. I'll add to everything.
Okay, I'll add to everything.
My favorite part of our process of creating the episodes is when we have the skeleton of the visuals all together, and then we shoot it over to Carly, and she gets to pick the songs that go along. Really comes alive after that.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm very much influenced by music because I have a dance background. Well, I have a very akin ear, and I just love being able to merge the visuals with music. It's like, honestly, one of my favorite parts. And Maggie was so kind. She's like, you do all the music. You just let me do it all.
You're so good at it. Yeah. Thank you. And as I said before, with the emotions, before I'd be like, oh, this is okay. I'm making okay. Yeah. And then she'd send over the music, and I would be crying. How'd you do that? It's alive.
Yeah. Thank you, Maggie.
I mean, yeah, music has the ability to elevate anything, and it's that. Yeah, but before we talk about the projects, I want to jump to further back, not high school, but how did you guys meet?
This is good. We actually, I would say that this is serendipitous because we were both living in New York, however, and we were working at the same bar, but not at the same time period. So Maggie worked there before I did. And so we never crossed paths working, but we had the community of women that we worked with, and we all were very good friends. And so before I moved out here at the end of 2017, I reached out to Maggie on a whim and was like, how's LA? Tell me everything about it. And that was sort of the beginning of us talking, and then we would hang out quite a bit. As once I moved here, we got together quite a bit, and I think we realized, there's actually like a genuine friendship. And so had it not been for Rose Bar, where we worked at in New York, we would never have crossed paths.
And there was this moment, I remember when we were both thinking about moving to LA. I was still city shopping at the time. I hadn't landed on LA, but we were texting about possibly being roommates. There was this like,
I don't remember that.
I don't remember that. Well, there was 5 seconds of our life where we were thinking about being roommates, but Carly has cats, and I have an allergy to cats.
Yes.
So anyway, there was this moment I recognized anyhow of like, I think we're meant to like be together somehow, and it was not in the capacity of housemates. No, but we're partners. Yeah.
The whole idea of people owning cats, Look, I'm deadly allergic to cats, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, good thing you're not here.
You guys are both missing out. I'm telling you.
I don't
here.
They don't like me.
Yeah, I mean, I had dogs growing up, and like, they're my dogs recognize my feelings, and they're cool. I've just never been a cat owner or like comfortable around cats. But since I'm in the dating world, a lot of people have cats, and I'm just so surprised because when I was growing up, I couldn't name any of my friends that owned cats.
Cats, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're on the rise. They're in like every commercial now. They have their own commercials. I mean, I think cats are trending in a big way in 2020.
Yeah.
And onwards. Finally, they're getting their due.
But, I think I know, like, many people who have cat allergies.
Yes.
Fewer who have dog allergies.
I have cat allergies as well, but I outgrew them. Yes.
My
love for cats overpowered my cat allergies about 10 years ago. I swear. I mean, I grew up with 4 cats. I, too, had the same allergies you guys suffered from, and it was awful. The wheezing, the coughing, the sneezing.
Your family was like, you'll get over it.
And I did. Wow. I did. I actually physically got over it. Yeah, didn't know that about me, Maggie, did you?
No, I did not, but it explains some things. Chris, I will not be taking on that charge. I will not get over them.
No, I'm just like dog. I don't know. I have 2 corgis, so that's all I know.
Oh, so cute.
What are their names?
The oldest one is Toby.
Oh.
He's probably about over 10 years now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's an old grump. And the youngest one is named Ollie, who is, I want to say maybe about 6 or 7. Yeah, but he has puppy energy still. It's amazing.
Wow.
Oh, he might not outgrow that then.
Yeah. How do you handle 6 years of puppy energy?
You know what? In the beginning, Toby was the shining example of a dog. And then once he got grumpy and I don't want to do anything, Ollie's puppy energy is now appreciated.
There you go.
That's great.
There you go. So it's inspiring. So. It's not something you have to handle.
Right. Yeah. So it's just interesting to see. So.
Aww.
Dogs, I tell you though. Dogs.
I'm getting a puppy in 2 weeks. We are picking the puppy. We're 5th in line. My husband and I, and then in a month on my husband's birthday. Puppy arrives. No.
Now, is it like? Do you know what kind of dog going in, or is it literally you're just going to go see which one you connect with?
We're getting a mini Bernedoodle, and I have to say, again, a serendipitous story. The director of photography and the guy who does our editing, Ed, of Creative Light, he just got a mini Bernedoodle and put us in touch with his breeder. So thank you, Ed.
I see. Okay. You're saying a birder doodle making a
okay, so the mini. I'm pretty sure you think I said a burger doodle. No,
I was like, yeah, what's a burger? I would have been like, fine, that's a real thing. Okay.
That's what I've done the whole time. I mean, she's told me about it. I'm like, I have no idea what this dog is.
They're tricolored. They look shaggy. I actually think they're on the rise. They're like the next cats.
They're
soon. Yeah. And we'll be like, I'm ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Trendsetter.
Anyway, I'm going to call you up after this and ask you how to deal with puppy energy because I'm terrified.
Yeah.
Puppy energy, it's fine.
Okay.
As long, it's fine. It's, you're not going to sleep, but that's fine.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Potty training sucks, but then you know what? They learn it, and then it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're a lot like kids, except... kids will grow up and bring in steady income.
Yeah.
And not depend on you after a certain point. So they're not like kids, actually.
Yeah, not at all. No.
No.
That was a poor analogy.
No.
That's funny because I'm a big kid person. I was a teacher for a long time, and I feel like I meet adults who, when they're in the room alone with a kid, they're like, hello, how do I approach you? And I'm not that way at all with kids, but I was alone with a dog for the first time ever yesterday. Our friend let me hang out with her for 5 minutes, and I had that moment where I was like, hello. Do you want me to talk to you? Will you answer if I ask you a question?
Answer me, please. And promptly.
Yeah. The dog's like, do you have food?
Exactly.
So one time we were doing a project for school. We were going door to door raising money for our school's band. And we stopped at this one house where a dog just pushed through the front door. And it was another person and myself who he immediately booked it. And me, being a dog guy, I'm just like, whatever. What's the worst that happened? I get bitten, I get to go home. Who cares?
Rabies.
So the dog starts jumping on me and, trying to, I don't know, get at my face. And the owner of said dog is freaking out. And I'm standing there like, would you like to make a donation to our high school band?
I think you're obligated to now.
Well, and then she said, honestly, I feel like I have to because you just got attacked. And I was like, thank you very much. And then we just went on. I was like, all right.
So it's something good resulted out of something not so good.
Right.
Yes. Now I told that for two reasons. A, dogs are the best, and I'm not afraid of them. But I'm also very fearless. And I don't know if that's impressive to people, but I just want to get that out there.
I think it is, yeah. You were shaken when your friend fled.
Yeah.
Exactly. He was a cat owner. You could tell.
Didn't want to say it. But,
see where you're headed with this.
But you mentioned a gentleman by the name of Ed, who did the DP and the editing on Creative Light.
Yeah.
And that's one of the first shout outs I want to give you because this is a beautiful looking project all through and through.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, how did this idea? What was it that had you two come together and say, you know what, we need to talk about these types of subjects?
Yeah, well, I think that we were already talking about this subject, just me and Carly on our own. But the project came to us in kind of like a life way where I think I personally was in the point where many creatives might relate to this, where I was just really questioning myself and trying to understand the why behind why I was a creative and the purpose behind it, and just really, really struggling to answer the questions. And then I got into a car accident. And, life circumstances like that can really shake perspective into you.
Right.
So I recognized that I just needed to, I really needed to dig in and find those answers for myself. And I needed also to take a break from the creative work that I was doing. I was working on children's books. I'm a writer and illustrator for children's books. And a lot of my work when I illustrate, it's graphic novels, so it's very cinematic. I used to teach art and I used to teach film, and I thought maybe film seems to be resonating with me right now. I don't know anything about this. I'm not an actress, but I have friends who are. So I called Carly and kind of presented this idea of wanting to create short films about creativity, and really had nothing more than that. Yeah. But just knowing that I needed to create some community of creatives. I needed to hear from creatives, and I needed to remind myself why I was doing this. And Carly answered the call. Thank God she did not block me.
Well, I couldn't because she left out a good part of the story. She's like, I just saw an intuitive psychic, and when I threw out your name, the woman said, yes, you need to work with her. And I was like, oh. Yeah. Because I agree. I mean, it's very interesting when you have friendships with people or relationships with them, to then decide whether or not you're going to go into a working partnership. Mm-hmm. That's a really big decision. And I didn't want it to maybe impact our friendship, because sometimes working partnerships, they can go really smoothly, or you might be learning some hard lessons. Mm-hmm. So I was a little apprehensive, but when she told me about the psychic, I was like, I'm in. I'm down.
The part of the story, I remember saying to this woman, I was like, yeah, but I don't have much of an idea besides I know it has to do with creativity and reimagining creativity. And I was like, when is this going to happen? And she was like, call Carly and it's going to happen tomorrow.
There we go.
Get on that. Okay. and that's how it worked. We like hit it off in that initial conversation. We were like, okay, let's sleep on this. And then let's jam on a Google Doc mm-hmm. and see what ideas come to us. And it was like flowing from there and on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how long, like this took over a year?
Yeah, it took about a year and a half, because mm-hmm. what we did was we shot a pilot on minimal resources, mm-hmm. actually in Maggie's husband's then apartment. And we decided to take some space after the pilot to really reconfigure and say, okay, what did we like from the pilot and what do we want to improve? Because I think one thing that Maggie and I really relate on is we're always pushing ourselves to try to get to the next level. And we really loved what we did, but we wanted the production value we wanted to up the ante on that. So we took a little break, and then we kind of got on a schedule. Mm-hmm. But it did take about a year and a half, because Maggie and I did pretty much everything from finding the people we interviewed, to interviewing them, to booking the studios, to editing and coming up with the story post interviews. I mean, it took time. We wanted it to be really, really thoughtful mm-hmm. and mm-hmm. powerful, and so stuff like that doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm. And it was juggling a bunch of the interviewees' schedules as well, like how to all get together on a certain date, and how can we juggle our other projects?
Because this was our side project.
This was our side hustle. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys, but I mean, scheduling is now super easy to do.
Yeah, it's like.
Oh yeah,
like drinking water.
Totally. Yeah,
so enjoyable.
So easy.
So I really love it too.
Yeah.
So fun.
Nothing on our plates anyway. Yeah. Yeah.
We're lying.
Yeah.
Right. Now, as far as the project goes, what was the thing that took the most amount of energy from you guys, or maybe the hardest part of the project for you?
That's a good question. I mean, I think on my end, I'm certain we both had different experiences, because Maggie would handle certain aspects of the project and I would handle certain aspects, and then we would kind of work together on other parts. But I think for me, the editing, going back after the interviews, re-listening to the interviews and coming up with actual episodes with arcs, with first act, second act, third act. I think sometimes some episodes were more seamless, and others we had to sort of push our imagination to say, well, how can we weave these interviews together, tell a story, make it impactful? I would say that, and the editing, because we would re-edit the episode multiple times to get it to where we wanted it to be. But I also really liked that part, because it did make us really collaborate and pick and choose, like kind of where we saw, okay, well, you have to let that go, or that's not as important as we thought it was, and that's okay. So it was really good to sift through and learn the process of knowing what to keep and knowing where to let go.
To add on to that, I actually have the same answer. That was also my most challenging part. And I think a part of it is when you're doing documentary work, there's an element of surrender. You recognize that you don't know what your interviewers are going to say. So you have some sort of an idea because you're asking them some sort of question, and you have themes, but then they wow you with these answers and these stories. And, at the end of it, you've let go, but then it's on you again to find the story. And we, like Carly said, weave something together that will actually resonate with viewers and move them. And I think when we were going through different clips and thinking like, is this going to be additive or not? Do we include this or not? There was this big question of, what is going to be most impactful for the viewers, and whether it was help them heal or help them at a practical level. And also the fact that they were such diverse interviewees, that was a big part of our intention and goal, was to show many perspectives on a certain topic, and how can we get this whole approach. Really just making sure that we then did that in the editing too. Like, how do we balance all the different voices and perspectives to give something that feels complete and whole? Yeah, that was a lot to think about. Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned earlier, Maggie, that you aren't an actor per se, but how was it jumping in front of the camera for you?
I hope I fooled you. I hope you were surprised by that. So like I said, I was a teacher for a long time.
Right.
Yeah, and I realized that I had not really been in front of the camera much, but I had been in front of, I taught high school most recently, and I think teenagers are a terrifying audience, so I had to say to myself, if you can talk in front of a room full of teenagers, you could do anything. But I actually wound up doing that. I got this great tip from actually one of our interviewees, Joe. Shout out to Joe. Mm-hmm. He worked with me a little bit just to give me a little bit of some bearings, and said, imagine the camera as one of your students and just talk to them like you would your student. And I did. I had a few in mind. I won't say who they are because I love all of them. But yeah, so I hope I fooled you.
Yeah. Well, there are these professions that aren't acting per se or in the entertainment industry that I'm just like, well, that's an acting job. If you can do that, you can act. Lawyers, salesmen, stuff like that. So I'm just like, yeah, I've talked to so many people in those professions, and I'm just like, you can do it. I don't you're trying to convince someone of the truth. So I don't know why you can't act. So I don't know. I think it's totally doable.
Yeah, I mean, she was fearless. She really was, and I was so proud of her because I know how hard it can be to just step on set in front of a bunch of people and not have that experience and the technicalities of eye lines and booms and different cameras. And she just was like, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to inform myself and educate myself. And she was a professional through and through.
I learned a ton. Like I said, I realized I would need someone who was in the field, in the industry, to help. And Carly really served as like a director on set. She just, because she knew the term eyeline. Not eyeliner. What?
She caught on quick though. She's brilliant, so it wasn't too hard for her. She caught on real quick.
You hear that, everybody? So, and anyone can do this. Anyone can do this. If I can, you can.
Do you have a taste for it now?
I think I enjoy the hosting. We're using the acting, and I think I prefer being a storyteller through hosting. And I will leave the acting to Carly.
No, but she memorized lines, and we wrote. We wrote scripts. I did most of the writing for us, and she memorized her lines. She was you acted. You acted as yourself, but you still acted,
which is hard. I have to say, when the camera goes on and people are like, "Be yourself."
You're like, what?
Who am I?
Yeah. Existential crisis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you guys only do 4 episodes? No, I'm not saying only 4 episodes, but do you have more coming out, or?
Yeah. Well, we had a budget, and we originally wanted to do 6, but the thing that you'll learn as a filmmaker, whether you have a big studio budget behind you or you're an indie filmmaker like us, is that the budget goes quick. And we realized that 6 was not going to be feasible if we wanted to do it well and we wanted it to be beautiful and high production quality. So we stuck with the 4. But the good news is we have about 6 other episode ideas for season 2, and we're not going to give a lot away, but I think we both feel like, Creative Light season 2 is definitely going to happen. We have some really exciting things, possibly popping up for us, and possible distribution. So, we have great episode ideas, and we really hope that we can bring them to life.
I think the word surrender comes again in mind, that there's a little bit of, having to let go and feel out what is coming next. With certain creative projects, I think you have to do that from time to time. And the funniest thing about this project, or the coolest thing perhaps, is that we both talk about it like it's a baby. It's like this baby that we born. It like knocked on our door and was like, "Can you be my parents?" And so there's this feeling of like, okay, these episodes want to come to life, and we're somehow going to find the resources to make that happen. I don't know if those out there feel that way about certain projects, but this one is very compelling in that way.
I mean, I agree. The subjects that you tackled throughout the project or the videos, they spoke to me because a lot of the things that you talked about I'm currently going through, and I just it's always nice to have. I mean, I wasn't around for for none of it, and I'm like, oh, I feel like they're talking to me, so I really appreciated that.
That's why we did what we did, because we felt like, and once again, anybody who is a creative, which everybody is innately a creative, but those who work in creative fields, oftentimes, like, your schooling doesn't teach you necessarily how to sustain a creative life, and it also doesn't, outside of technique, help you sort of figure out these the myriad of issues you go along as your journey as a creative. So we kind of saw this as a more practical masterclass where people who want to form a community and figure out how to navigate the ups and downs of just the creative journey can turn to episodes and hopefully find inspiration, find new ideas, and just allow it to resonate with you. That's exactly why we created this project.
And Chris, there's been a lot of feedback that sounds similar to yours, of people just really responding positively. And I think there's this overall thesis that we really wanted people to hear out and just space for in their minds, which is that creativity is in all of us, and it is a way to connect to the life force that is in all of us. And you can, then creativity can be life-giving. And without that, it can be bleak, and it can be sad and dangerous and lonely. And so how do we as a society start reframing creativity in this way? Because it's important. Yeah. And I personally needed to say all these things to myself on camera to you, Chris. And if you go back to, what initially started this project, I think there wasn't quite much out there that was speaking to these things. And I needed to hear it for myself, say it for myself, and then produce something that could then get others who I knew were feeling similarly to have something.
There you go. Now, I want in. How can I get in on season 2? What do I got to do?
That's awesome.
What I got to do?
Yeah. Do you want to be interviewed, or what do you want to do?
I'll do whatever needs to be done. I'll do it.
Well, how about this? Having been someone who watched episodes, is there a topic that you think we ought to tackle in season 2 that you'd love to be a part of?
It's, I'll have to get back to you on that, just because I was gonna, everything that's coming to mind you guys covered. So yeah, my biggest thing, and this is what Chris is currently going through. I don't say my name when I talk to myself, so I don't want you to get the wrong impression.
It's okay. No judgment.
But when it comes to the podcast and film and all that, there are things that I've done for a really long time. And the thing that I've been trying to do is keep things fresh for myself. And that is something I'm really struggling with, especially with this podcast. Just because I'm just for me, the thing that motivates me is always kind of fear. If I'm scared to do something, then I know that it's worth doing.
It's like a signal to yourself.
Exactly. And so I remember there was a time, and I don't want to offend anybody, but when there were interviews, I would physically just get real sick, real scared, and want to just cancel the meeting altogether or the interview. And then once it actually started, then I would calm down and everything would be fine.
Right.
Nowadays, it's just, hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Yeah.
And part of me misses that because, you know, years of doing this, it's a well-tuned machine, but I miss when the gears would come off.
Yeah. Right. You found excitement and purpose and meaning in pushing yourself and not knowing what would happen. And I think like that actually is a great episode idea, because I think what you feel and are describing is very common for every single adult in various aspects of their life, where it gets mundane, you don't feel inspired. And I get it. It's almost like you have to learn how to either refertilize or recycle that energy and recreate yourself. You know, I think that's the exciting part. The last episode we had, there was this picture that said the most important creative act is the act of creating yourself. And I think that as an adult, I always complain to my boyfriend. I'm like, man, adulthood sucks, you know?
Yes.
And it's not what you think it's going to be. But I think the way to not just survive but thrive is to constantly recreate yourself and to take on new challenges. So like for you with the podcast, maybe it's reimagining what your podcast is, or taking that energy and totally doing something else and trying something new. Like that's why I started to drum this year, because I was like, I can't just act. It's not enough. My brain needs challenges. And I suck at drumming. You know, but I'm like, dare to suck is my motto. Dare to suck in 2020.
And now you're walking the dog.
Yeah, now I'm walking the dog.
There we go.
Well, to add on to that, Chris, a word that comes to mind is growth. And it feels like you did a ton of growing in creating this podcast and possibly have graduated. And so in terms of an episode, I think you're right, Carly, this idea of recreating, but just understanding that in adulthood as a creative, there are different chapters to your story as an adult, as a creative, as a human. And how do you transition from chapter to chapter? That in itself is scary. So maybe you want to lean into that, Chris.
Yeah. And just get ready to be interviewed for season 2 when we create this episode.
Oh, God, and talk about transition.
Look, I'm ready.
Okay.
Well, no, I'll be ready. I should say that.
It's okay. You can still be in transition, right?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Everyone we interview will just be in a mess.
Yeah.
There's going to be tons of crying. I can't wait to hear the music for that episode.
Well, maybe you could do the background drumming, Chris. Maybe.
Okay. Yeah. All right. No, like honestly, anything you need, like I'm all in. I'm happy to support the arts and people who do the arts. And Carly, it's been great watching you throughout the years since our last chat and just keeping up with everything that you do.
Yeah.
And Maggie, now I'm glad to be following another person who I believe in. So it's all great.
Thank you so much.
And we believe in you and we support you in whatever direction you go in. And you've done such wonderful things with your podcast. And I know your audience really loves you and appreciates you, Chris.
And I'm sure everybody who's listening is excited, just like us, to see what's next for you.
Amen.
Because I'm pretty sure you just put it out into the universe that it's happening.
You know what? Hopefully the universe is like, yo, this is what's up, and then I'd be like, okay, cool, awesome.
Yeah. and then you'll get a creative project, baby.
But for the people at home who would like to keep up with everything that you guys do online, as well as check out the project, where can they do all that?
Well, check out Creative Light currently on YouTube under our Spark33 Media page. Our entire season is up. And then you could follow us both on Instagram. I'm at official Carly Sullivan.
And I'm at Maggie P. Chang. That's P as in pumpkin.
Thanks, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Oh, boy.
There you go. But Maggie, Carly, thank you so much for chatting with me and all the video and everything that you do. I appreciate everything.
Oh,
thank you, Chris.
Yeah, Chris, you're amazing. Thanks for having us.
Of course. And I'll let you guys go. Prepare for dog-proofing the house and getting the sticks ready.
Oh, yeah. You know it. Well, thank you, Chris.
Oh, gosh, we need it.
We hope that we talk to you soon, and thanks so much for having us.
Of course. Again, I'm always around, always happy to support you guys. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.